Welcome back and shalom shalom to you. We are on the next part of Hebrew Israelites. And before I continue, I wanted to remind you of the two books. Yehoshua, the Black Messiah, which you want as evidence for yourselves. Pass this book on to as many people as you can so that they may know the truth of the real Messiah. Because the Messiah that is being offered in the churches right now is at best a false Messiah and an impostor, I will say. Unfortunately that is. Whether people did it ignorantly or whether they did it deliberately, they have presented a false Messiah. If you received the false Messiah, I'm afraid that you got nothing to look forward to. Don't look forward to your salvation through a false Messiah. Don't look forward to your rapture because there's no such thing. And as I said, at best, if you want the real Messiah, then this will help you to find the real Messiah. And also the book, Beit Yehoshua, the son of Zadok, son of Daud, which in English means Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Zadok, the son of David. It basically will illustrate the family members of Yehoshua of Nazareth, who they were and how they were connected, how all the disciples were related with the Messiah. And yes, Matthew, Levi was related with the Messiah. He was his relative. You want to find out what relations he had? You want to find out the relations of Yohanna, John the Baptist? It's all in here, okay? You want to find out what happened to Miriam? How she got married afterwards? She did not remain a virgin, which is a false teaching of the Catholic Church. All in here, my friends. Get this book, pass it on. So we continue very quickly with the slot that we have, and we were talking about the word. Remember, we were talking about the word Adamah and the word Dam. The Hebrew word Dam and Adamah, as I was trying to tell you, are word plays in the Hebrew. Let me just quickly isolate it to show you. Basically, if you look at this, you can see the word Dam, because these are prefixes, postfix. If we remove those, you end up with the word Dam, Ha, Adamah, the earth or the ground. And we notice that these are word plays. When blood goes into the ground, and when the Bible speaks about Adum, the Bible is not describing a red person. There is no such thing as a red person. He did not appear from Mars, okay? So we need to get away from this faulty thinking. Red in the Bible means red-black. It's describing a black man from the Nilotic region, the African continent. Israel is part of the African continent, is describing a black man. It is not describing a Caucasian with red skin or rosy cheeks so you can kiss them. No. It is describing a black person, okay? So remember that. So we move on with the fact that I want to show you, I said earlier that Zach, the word Zach, means dazzling. It does not mean white, it does not mean dry, okay? I wanted to show you something about the word Zach. If we remove this Zadi out of the way, cross it out for argument's sake, if we just said the Zadi is not there, for a moment, we said that, okay, we isolate the Zadi and we think this is not there. Just look at the Chet. The Chet is a very important word, okay? The Chet, basically, it stands on its own. A lot of people don't know this. A lot of people in this Hebrew world, or those who claim to be Hebrew knowledge, and, all sorts of other knowledge with PhDs, they don't know this, that the Chet has a very powerful value on its own. It describes something. In the ancient text, in the hieroglyphs, Chet looks something like this. Two ways. It looks either like this, like a fence, or it looks like this. So it depends. Either it's a vertical fence, vertical, or either horizontal. Okay? That is Chet in the hieroglyph Hebrew that Musa wrote. What I want to show you from this, what does it show us? If you notice the Egyptian writings, there were hieroglyphs, pictures. They tell us something. This tells us a fenced area, a land basically, a country, a people. That's what the Chet directs us to. So what does it actually direct us to? It directs us to this area, land of the blacks. A Chet describes all this region, land of the blacks, okay? Rabbi Simon told you this. No book will tell you this. No rabbi will tell you this apart from Rabbi Simon in the whole world. That Chet describes the people in the Nilotic region called Africa, okay? I'm going to prove that in a second to you. Now, the zadi is a what I describe as a prefix. A zadi in ancient writing, in the hieroglyphs, would be, my friends, the picture of a sperm, which will look something like this. Picture of a sperm or picture of a fish. So the zadi is a picture of a continuation of the seed. So what does it show us? The continuation of the black seed. That's what this actually pictures show us. Fenced in. Land of the blacks is the ancient name of this African continent. Fenced in. Okay? Now, let's move on. I'm going to show you another word. Remember the word darkness. It occurs in the Bible in the very first chapter of Genesis. Khoshek. Khoshek. Chet, shin, and we have the kaf at the end. The long kaf. Now I want to show you something. What I'm going to show you is this. What's the first letter of the Hebrew? Chet. Then we have Shech. Ignore those two for a second. Remember what I told you about the Chet here? Look at the Chet here. And look at the Chet here. Same letters. What does that Chet describe us? Darkness. Okay? Now it is used in the book of Genesis to describe darkness on the face of the deep. Waters. Okay? Waters. Now, Shin, you will note, you can go and look up the Shin in the ancient Hebrew, but however, a Shin in the ancient Hebrew is like teeth marks. However, what we're going to look at is a Chet. Chet, the fence. Chet, darkness. So, whenever Chet is used, it's describing the features of a person, of land, of areas. Okay? Darkness means dark. Look up in the Bible. Look up all the words are with related to Khoshek. Always related to darkness, dark features. Meaning is leading us to what? Nilotic people. People of the Nile River. The Nile Basin. Very important area of Egyptian studies. People who are Egyptianologists study that area frequently and a lot because that gives us a lot of interesting history. Okay? So Khoshek. Now, the word, what is the word for black? You might ask, what is the word for black? Okay? So we looked at Khoshek, darkness. The word for black, my friends, is here. Shakur. Okay? Shakur. I'm going to show you something very interesting now. Shakur. Let me now isolate the prefix here. Shin. I'm going to isolate this. And what do we get? Hur. Hur is a very important word, my friends. I'll describe that in a second. But look at the Chet. Here is the Chet again. This, if you can see it, this is a Chet. Remember I told you about the Chet being part of the people? Chet, 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 Chet. Okay? So let me use my pointer so I can work a little bit better. Chet here. We have the Chet here. We have the Chet here. Description of the people again. Shahur. Black people. Okay? You could describe a black object, a dark object. So, what's so important about this Shahur? Remove the prefix, Shin. We're left with Khur. What does Khur mean? Khurite people. Khurite people historically lived in Israel. Long before Abraham was born and lived there. Okay? They lived in Israel. Khurite. What is Khur? Khur, I know Khur very well. Khur is an area of Punjab in Pakistan. Okay? It is describing a people. Those people, by the way, Hebrew Israelites. Most of those people do know that they're Hebrew Israelites. They're called Pathans in Pakistan by the terms of Khan at the end of their names. Now, also Khur, these people, remember, these are names of people, Khurite people. Khur, people also went to India. They went to a city called Mumbai. And there's a place there called Khur. Okay? Second place. The third place they went to is Nepal, right next door to India. So we have three places called Khur. Now, note, Pakistan, when it was one country with India, it had received this language from Iran, Persia. The Persian word for Khur, which becomes Khar, actually means a donkey. Okay? It's used as a kind of a donkey word. Now, I want to show you something. You can check this word Shahur in Leviticus chapter 13, verse 31. Okay? You can look it up in Leviticus 13:31, describing dark spots on a person with a disease. Okay? You can look this up. Now, as I told you earlier, that the name Khur is also found in the Bible. It is not a I'm not a magician that I just didn't invent the word. It's there. These are people, Horite people, lived in the Nile basin. They lived all over here, and they traveled all over the world afterwards, but they were looking for a person. They were looking for basically their God to become incarnate as a man, just as a man that Yehoshua became. Yes, these people were looking for it. These are the ancestors of Abraham, black people. Abraham was a black man. We'll look at that later. So, moving forward, if you go to Exodus chapter 31 verse 2, you'll find the word Hur there, describing a man, related to Moses, by the way. Okay? So as I pointed out to you, that this is not incidental. It's actually quite interesting that we find this letter, Hur, describing us a particular type of people who we find in the world today, in Pakistan, in India, in Nepal. And Pakistan, India, and Nepal are east of Israel. That is where a lot of the scattering was. Scattering happened towards the African continent. Then people went east. They even ended up in China, of all places. So it's not it's not coincidental they ended up in China next to Pakistan and India. Also notice that from here the slave trade took the black people to America, Canada. It took them to Western Europe, and it also took them to Australia through the slave trade. But there were also black Hebrew Israelites, Negroid people. So my friends, this concludes this part of the session for Hebrew Israelites. I will be back shortly for the next section of it, but I'm going to leave you to it. Hurite people is a word that you want to remember. Shachur, you want to remember. You want to remember Ha'adamah. You want to remember Dam. You want to Zak. Adam was made from the earth. He was black. He wasn't a white man. Neither was Hawa, Eve. So therefore all these things are related. For all these things, to understand them very, very, very well and get a grasp and grip on the Bible, you get this Bible and you will never go wrong. You get the Abrahamic faith, Nazarene Hebraic Study Scriptures from www.abrahamic-faith.com. That will be listed on the back of this video. The address will be listed. I wish to thank you for listening to me. Your host, Rabbi Simon Altaf. Shalom, shalom to you.